Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 3 on painting a leopard. Let's take a look at the products we're using in today's video. Right, so they're the products we're using. There's a couple of different ones probably popped up in that little video clip, but anything different that I'm using, I'll just talk you through as we're painting and make it as simple as possible. Now, part 2, we completed that side of the leopard's face. And then I said at the end of part 2, if you just mirror match what you've done on that part and just take it and transition it over to the opposite side. And that's what I've done off camera. I've done it exactly the same way, went about it as we did in part 2. And just did exactly the same paint scheme as I went up and done the eyes, went the same way about it and just put the details in to match this side. So it looks nice and even, textures are in, and we've come down to the top of the nose. Now, I didn't do this part here in part 2 for you, but if you follow these techniques that you did in part 2 and just bring that down the top of the nose here, you'll be absolutely fine. So part 3, we're going to start here. We're going to come round here, we're going to do the ear and the top of the body, and we'll split it. So we'll achieve this today, and then off camera I'll do the same, and I'll just mirror match it and I'll put it in to this side. So you'd have achieved all this. And then part 4, we can move on to this. Part 5, we can do a leg and a paw. Part 6, the opposite leg and a paw. Part 7, we can drop the background in. And then 8, we can move on to the frame. We can do the gold leaf in, and then we're going to do the resin as well to finish this picture off. So I'll move in a little bit closer. We'll get the brushes set up, get the paint flowing nice, and we will start this section here. See you in a minute. Right guys, we're going to make a start. Now I've got some black FW mixed up in the brush. Just going to test it to the side. It's really thin, this is. So I'm just going to start to put the blacks in around this piece here. Just do some little passes. You can see that little spidered out then. That's all right. Adds to the texture. Some little bits here. Just sort of flicking the brush backwards and forwards. I'm just doing like a little continuous line squiggle and filling this in, and then it gives you that look. Of like stippled type fur, because you get like dark and light passes, so it's like a little textured blocking out piece. Like that. Same again here, fill this one in. Spider webbing out. We can erase them bits off in a bit. It's really thin paint, this is. So you're going to get that. It's a very smooth surface. This is low pressure. It's around 10 psi and it's still bleeding out, but I don't mind. We can just sort of knock them back a bit. Adds a little bit of texture. A little bit in here. A little line coming off that, just a little. We'll do a little faint pass of that down. This bit here. Going to drop the paint down. Just going to start putting these textures in here. You see what I mean by it's really hard to erase off, even with an ink eraser. I think for when it's the surface, it's really just, the minute the paint hits it, it just absorbs straight in. So it's just a little bit more time consuming doing this to get it and get them textures that you want. But you will find using different paints, you'll get this. See, even this is very thinned out in here. Race into this. Just build this up. I'm not following every perfect the way it goes, I'm just putting my own bits in on this. And I was trying to mirror match every single little strand. You'll just get too frustrated, guys. There's times where you've got to sort of let loose and just follow it, but just do it your way. Black, this is the golden black. Just going to put a few little dark patches in up there. Darken that out a bit. Just sort of freehand, you know. You're just filling it in. The scalpel. So we'll just build this up with the scalpel. We'll get there. Start to just drop a little bit in here. Darken a few little spots off. Right guys, just continuing on now. I've done a little bit off camera because the memory card filled up. Got a bit of sandpaper, just the tip of it, and just flicked it like that. And gets you some real fine little hairs, strands going in. And now I'm just going back over and just sinking some of them back. Just move down here, just darken these out. Again, just flicking the brush. Let's get a bit of paint down and we'll just erase into that in a minute. And just going back over darkening bits. Now as you can see, I've dropped some darks over the back of this body here. I just went in with a shading grey on that. Do some little darker bits around here. A bit more in here. Do some little flicks on that. Now on this back bit, as I say, went in with shading grey. I'm just going to go back over now with and just let it fog out a bit around here and just continue on. Block it in. This big one here. Nice little textures. It just softens it right up. Just do some cutting away like that. Some little hairs going in. You can just keep adding and detailing it up. Like that. So we've got to this piece here, which ain't looking too bad at the minute. Darken this bit out here a bit. Like that. So we've got that piece in. Once this background goes in, we mask this out and we darken this background off. This will bring this forward even more because the background's very dark on this. So it'll just bring it forward again. It's because you're staring at white to the outer. Just darken in there a bit. So just keep working it, adding, putting more highlights where you want them. Just bring little bits in. And just keep adding little bits, you know. So you just keep going round, tweaking bits. Keep adding to it. It's the beauty of doing these sort of fur type textures when you're using the right paints and things. And you can just keep knocking it back, putting a little bit more in. Just go around tweaking it. Like that. Right guys, we're going to call that one done for part 3. The bits you missed out on because the camera was full was just dropping these bits in here, and it was basically I went in with the shading grey first and then just dusted over. So you've just got like a blurry type look on this. We worked the textures in here and then came up the air and just sort of kept building the layers up. Went in with sandpaper in the end because that puts you a nice soft transition across with the sandpaper. I was finding that was working the best to get these little soft edges here, and just built the layers upon the ear. So all you've got to do when you do it is complete one side and then just do exactly the same to the opposite side and work your way down to here. So you've got that piece and this top piece, which is nice and easy. Just blur a bit in, straightforward. Use all the tools that you can to create your textures. And as I say, don't beat yourself up if you're thinking you've got to follow every single strand of hair, or as long as you get it in the sort of way that it's going. I mean, mine looks completely different to the reference. When you move the reference out the way and you stand back and view it at the right distance, it just all comes together. As I say, when you do the background as well, when we drop this in, because this is nice and dark on the background, this will pop forward more. It will punch the highlights out more once you've got this white blocked out and the background's in. It will just bring the tiger forward. And as I say, you can always add to this. It's not a problem. You can start going back in with some more tones, dropping them on, erasing back, scratching back, and just the more you overlay them scratch back techniques, if you happen to just use like a scalpel, you can go over, knock it back, lightly dust over, erase into that and soften the edges up, and you can just work it like that and just build it up with the layers, and then you'll achieve it and it'll all come together. So hope you've enjoyed the video. Drop your comments, tell me your thoughts. I'll catch up with you in part 4 when we start this piece, which will be the teeth, the whiskers coming across and things like that, and we'll continue from here across. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one, guys.